Welcome to your Shadow channel. Now we will tell another chilling horror story. Tonight, we delve into horror stories about roommates. Are you ready to get scared? Let's begin. The first story is about the midnight typist. In the heart of the university campus, nestled among towering oaks, stood the old Whitmore dormitory. Sarah, a sophomore with a love for the quiet, had chosen this secluded dorm for its peaceful atmosphere. But peace was the last thing she would find. It began subtly. The faint sound of typing after midnight, when the world seemed to hold its breath. Sarah thought little of it, attributing the noise to her roommate, Mia, who often stayed up late working on her thesis. But one night, the typing grew louder, more insistent, as if the unseen typist was trying to communicate a desperate message. Curiosity piqued, Sarah turned to confront Mia, only to find her bed empty, the sheets pulled tight, undisturbed. Confusion turned to fear as the typing continued, relentless. She reached for her phone to call Mia, but it rang before she could dial. It was Mia, calling to say she'd be staying at her parents' house for the week. The room grew colder, the air thick with an unspoken dread. Sarah wrapped herself in blankets, trying to ignore the clacking keys that seemed to echo from the walls themselves. Sleep eluded her, and when dawn finally broke, the typing stopped as abruptly as it had started. The next night, Sarah waited, tense as the clock ticked closer to midnight. And like clockwork, the typing resumed. This time, she mustered the courage to search for the source. She followed the sound to Mia's desk, where her computer sat closed, untouched. The typing was coming from inside the desk drawer. With trembling hands, Sarah opened the drawer to find an old typewriter, its keys moving on their own, hammering out words on a yellowed paper. "Help me, Sarah. Trapped in the walls." The message repeated over and over, a looped plea from someone, or something, long forgotten within the dormitory's walls. Sarah stumbled back, the typewriter's relentless clacking filling her ears as the room spun around her. In the days that followed, Sarah's inquiries about the typewriter were met with dismissive shrugs. No one knew of its origin, and no one believed her tale. But every night, the typing continued, a ghostly roommate reliving its final moments, reaching out for help that would never come. Sarah eventually moved out, leaving the typewriter behind, but the legend of the midnight typist lived on, whispered among students who dared each other to spend a night in the cursed room of Whitmore dormitory. The second story is about the reflection that wasn't. In the heart of the city, nestled between the hustle of life, stood an old apartment building with a history as murky as its faded brick walls. Roommates Mark and Alex found themselves drawn to it, not for its charm, but for its cheap rent. They quickly settled into a routine, with Mark working days and Alex studying nights. The centerpiece of their modest living room was a large, ornate mirror, a relic left by a previous tenant. It was Alex who first noticed something amiss. As he walked past the mirror late one night, he caught a glimpse of Mark's reflection. It was odd, seeing Mark standing still, staring back with an unsettling grin, especially since Mark was supposed to be at work. Shrugging it off as sleep deprivation, Alex continued his studies. But the reflection persisted, appearing every night, always smiling, always watching. It wasn't long before Mark noticed too. One evening, as he returned home, he saw Alex's reflection in the mirror, motionless and grinning, while the real Alex was in the shower. The roommates laughed it off, joking about the haunted mirror, but the laughter died when they started seeing the reflection even when alone. It never moved, never blinked, just smiled, a silent sentinel in their home. Determined to rid themselves of the eerie presence, they covered the mirror with a sheet. That night, the fabric fluttered as if caught in a breeze, and the sound of soft, mocking laughter filled the room. When they pulled the sheet away, the reflection was gone, but so was the laughter. Days passed without incident, and the roommates hoped the strange occurrences were over. But as Mark lay in bed one night, he heard the faint sound of shuffling. He turned to see the mirror uncovered, the reflection back in place, its grin wider than ever. Frozen in fear, Mark watched as the reflection stepped out of the mirror into the room, its movements jerky and unnatural. The room grew cold, and the air filled with the scent of decay. The reflection reached out, its hand passing through Mark as if he were the one made of glass. In the morning, Alex found Mark unresponsive, staring into the mirror with a vacant smile. No matter how much he shook him, Mark wouldn't look away. The doctor said it was catatonia, but Alex knew better. He moved out the next day, leaving the mirror and its prisoner behind. The mirror remains in the apartment, waiting for new tenants, waiting to reflect their deepest fears. And sometimes, late at night, residents swear they can hear the faintest echo of laughter, bouncing off the walls of the old building. The third story is about the roommate who never existed. Emily's excitement at starting her freshman year was matched only by her relief at meeting Jenna, her roommate. Jenna was everything Emily could hope for, kind, studious, and always there to lend an ear. They bonded over late-night study sessions and shared secrets, becoming fast friends in the sprawling campus of their dreams. But as midterms approached, Emily noticed something unsettling. Jenna's side of the room began to look untouched, her bed always made, and her desk pristine. When Emily asked about it, Jenna just laughed it off, saying she was a neat freak. One weekend, Emily visited her family, returning to an eerily silent dorm room. Jenna's belongings were gone. Confused, Emily went to the RA, asking about Jenna's whereabouts, only to be met with a puzzled expression. "Jenna? There's no one by that name here. You've been the only one in that room all semester," the RA said, flipping through the records to prove it. Emily's mind raced. She had memories of Jenna, clear as day. They had shared meals, borrowed clothes, and confided in each other. Desperate for answers, Emily scoured social media, the school directory, even public records. Nothing. It was as if Jenna had vanished from existence. Haunted by the mystery, Emily began to withdraw, spending hours alone in her room, talking to the empty space where Jenna's bed used to be. Her friends grew concerned, whispering about Emily's break from reality. Then, one night, Emily awoke to a familiar voice. "I'm still here," it whispered. Turning on the light, she saw Jenna, translucent and flickering, sitting on her bed. "I never existed for anyone but you," Jenna said, her voice a distant echo. "I was created from your loneliness, a figment of your desire for a perfect friend." As dawn approached, Jenna's form grew fainter. "I have to go now, but I'll always be a part of you," she said before disappearing completely. Emily was left alone, grappling with the truth. Jenna was a ghost, not of a person, but of an emotion, a haunting born from the depths of her own mind. And though Jenna was gone, the memories remained, a bittersweet reminder of the friend who never was. These are just one of the many horror stories. There are many more out there, waiting to be discovered and told. Do you have any horror stories of your own? Share them in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more spooky content. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious. Bye.